Hi, and welcome back to Backstage at the Clubrooms, the podcast where we chat all things RADS, from backstage mishaps to onstage magic. Today I'm joined with Scott, who is not only directing our November production of Bleak Expectations, but is also Vice Chair and publicity mastermind behind RADS' socials, promos, and all things eye-catching. So before we get stuck into the Dickensian chaos of Bleak, we're going to have a little chat go back down one memory lane.
Let's do it.
And have a chat about your past RADS adventures. So, you've been in RADS for how long now?
I still feel like the newbie, but I'm not the newbie. 2016, I think it was.
Okay.
Was my first one. So, yeah,
nice.
coming up 10 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's an idea for a party if I ever saw one.
Absolutely flown by, yeah.
What was your first show?
First one was, ironically enough, having just done a Terry Pratchett one. It was a Terry Pratchett one. It was Weird Sisters.
Amazing.
And directed by Becky. It took me back to the Discworld era that we've just come out of.
Yeah,
nice little sort of bookend to it so far.
What did you play?
I played a fool. I played Verence the Fool. And it was really cool because I didn't know anything about Discworld. I didn't know anything about Terry Pratchett. I came along, met Becky, and she welcomed me in with open arms. And if she didn't give me that part, I probably wouldn't be here now, doing what I do now. So it's I always say thank you to Becky for that. I ended up I was the fool, I was the king's jester, and I ended up being the person who runs the country at the end. So it's
unreal.
Why not? Eh?
Yeah,
but yeah, it was fun. It was my first actual foray into proper acting. So I've never done any drama or anything like that at school. Okay. Just something that I thought, I wouldn't be too bad at that. I'll give it a go. Did a village pantomime. Really enjoyed the village pantomime, and then when that came out and finished, the post-show blues, I was I really, really enjoyed that. So reached out to, I looked at what societies are around, reached out to RADS, and then they were just in their spring production. Gregan was doing one called The Veil, came along and watched a rehearsal of that, and then thought, I'll go for the next one, see what happens. Didn't think I'd get anything, and alas, here I am 10 years later.
Oh, amazing. Yep. So obviously you've done on stage, you've done backstage.
Yeah. I did it for Whiskey Galore a few years ago, which was just as busy as the guys on stage or the girls on stage. There was so much to do, taking boats off stage, and
there was a lot of
a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah, I was just exhausted by the end of that. And then I did quite a bit of the backstage of the one we just done, Monstrous Regiment. I had a couple of small parts in that, so I was helping backstage on there as well. My main has been on stage. Really.
Nice, yeah. So what has been your highlight production for you? What was your favourite of all the ones you've done? What's your best one?
Journey's End for me. World War I in the trenches, brilliant production. Gregan directed that one, and it's one that I was talking about it today to somebody, and because they came and saw it, and they remember it really, really well. I remember it really fondly. I could probably do half my lines, so it just stuck with me. But Gregan dressed the whole theatre in Hessian, so it made the whole audience feel like they were part of this dugout, and all the action set in a dugout in the First World War, and it was just really, really a really fun, weirdly fun part to play. Yeah. This alcoholic officer who was just trying to keep his alcoholism in check, basically, while still trying to stay in charge of the regiment, just as they were building up to this big German attack.
Amazing.
And it was just a really, really incredible. I love that. Although I've been in some really funny plays as well. I did one not long after that called Black Comedy, where everything was set in the dark. So when the lights were up, we were in the dark on stage. So obviously we couldn't set a play in the dark because the audience would waste their money.
Naturally.
But so when the lights were up, we were on stage and we're walking around trying to fondle our way through the through the set, etc. And that was hilarious. And again, that was absolutely exhausting because I was moving furniture offset in the black. because I'd borrowed it from my neighbour who was coming back or had come back, and like he wasn't allowed to see what I'd borrowed, basically. So taking that off, like with people on it, taking off. I remember taking Susie Brown off on this chaise lounge and just like dragging her off stage, like in the dark, and like having to like choreograph when a lamp's swinging, so not hitting people and stuff like that. It was hilarious, really, really funny.
Amazing. Yeah. I can't like believe that we've never spoke about this properly before.
So
you'd said about Journey's End, because when we were talking about Monstrous Regiment and soaking it all in and just taking a second to ground yourself, I think one of a routine and a little ritual that I got so like, I don't know, focused on in Monstrous Regiment was literally just before the house was opened, was just taking a second after my little pacey ritual backstage to go on stage, have a little look, soak it in, and then come off again to start. I think it's so important to like ground yourself.
Taking it in is super important, because we put so much into this. You know, 3 or 4 months or whatever of actual rehearsal time, and then when you're on stage, it's over in a flash. And you get to Saturday, and all the hard work you've done is over in minutes, because the set comes down so quickly, because we've got to get out as quick as we can. I remember Journey's End going up and sort of, you know, this is it's gone now. And then like, get off the stage, we're bringing things in. Okay, fine, step back. But yeah, I think you have to take it in. Because it sticks with you. But all you've then got is memories of it. And so why not take it in at the very end as well? Or even at the start, before the show starts.
Well, this is it. And like, so with Monstrous Regiment, it was very much like before the chaos ensued. It was like, okay, minute of calm. And then, but when we did the Get Out, I purposefully, I'm such a coward, I was like, I can't look at the stage. Like, I can't do it. Like, I was like,
I don't want to admit it's over.
I don't want to admit that it's done. So like, I was sorting the costumes and putting the costumes and bringing the costumes back to the club rooms. And I came back to grab, I left my water bottle backstage, and it was just by the steps, and I literally went on, and the stage was just, the rostra was gone, and everything was empty, and I just went, and then literally I clocked Dan, eyes with Dan West, and I looked at him, and I was just like, nope, absolutely not. I just turned around and literally legged it out the theatre. I was like, I can't do it, because
it's amazing honestly, how quick it ends. You know what I mean? Like I say, like
done.
Because everyone wants to get everything out of the theatre as quick as possible. You know, sometimes we do the Get Out on the Saturday night, sometimes we do it on a Sunday morning. More recently, we've been doing it on the Saturday night, and it's great because everything's then done and it's out. But like you say, you step back and you look at it, and it's just an empty stage. Where, like for the one we've just done, where Borrowgravia was, you know, that was where Borrowgravia was, and then all of a sudden it's just an empty stage for the next people to come in. In literally 15
minutes, it's just gone. For our listeners that aren't fully aware of what the terminology we're using here, the get in and get out is what we basically use to describe putting our sets and our costumes into the theatre and then getting them out again after the show. So often we'll do the get out a week before, like 4 or 5 days before opening, depending on the get in. God, I wish, no. And like that'll be our process of making sure that everything we've got everything fits. And then it means that we have a couple of days of rehearsal with our props and sets before obviously opening to the public. And then the get out, like Scott said, it's usually the last night or the morning after the last night, depending on...
Sometimes we don't really want it the morning after because we have an after show party on a Saturday.
Exactly. I was going to say, I was like, depending on the after show party situation.
The numbers dwindle as well. But the amount of people that say, yeah, I'll come, and then all of a sudden they're not here the next day.
Everyone's not very well on the day after.
Or tired,
they're exhausted. It's just...
But yeah, so it is nice to get it out on the Saturday night because you're done and dusted then, and it is. But it is that feeling of, it's over now. And we move on so quickly as well, which is great if you're in the next one, because you've got no time to dwell on it. But it's so, like, I mean, I was in Macbeth a couple of years ago, and, you know, we took everything back on the Saturday night, and, you know, I do the publicity. And so the next day I was putting posts out for the next, you know, we got auditions coming up, and it's like all of a sudden, like, right, post-show blues, but we don't have time for that because we're on to the next one quite quickly. And I remember with Journey's End, feeling a real like sense of sadness that it was done, and I'd invested so much in it. But then out of nowhere, it's right, the next play's on. On we go, and you soon forget about what was there. And I mean, like I say, you have to when you're doing publicity because you've got to push the next show. But I know the people that were just in Monstrous who aren't in this next one, they'll stick with it for a little while until they do the next one.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just come really, really quick for the next one.
Of course it has, yeah. And I'm also so glad you mentioned Macbeth, because honourable mention, that was actually the first thing I think I ever saw you in.
Oh, really?
From an audience perspective.
Crying on stage.
Yeah, I was crying in the audience.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I was talking to a few of the other guys about this, because Macbeth is my favourite Shakespeare, and I was so excited when I saw that RADS were doing it, and I wasn't a member of RADS at this time. I'd not done anything with RADS, and I was sat in the audience, and I came, and literally I just sobbed for like a solid hour and a half. It was just amazing.
And just for context on that, so Macbeth, we said it in the 2007 2008 financial crash, and so we were all investment bankers and stockbrokers and stuff, so it was a really, really great twist on it. But I played Macduff. And if you know Macbeth, Macduff's children and wife all get massacred somewhere. Yeah. And Macduff gets handed the news. And I remember doing it because, it wasn't a massive part I had, but I had a few really, really powerful scenes.
Amazing.
And I just remember doing the scene where I get told it, and the whole audience, you could hear a pin drop. No one dared move because everyone was so still. And I can... I can cry on stage if needs be, but I was sobbing, and I remember sobbing and sort of pounding the floor in anger and upset, and then sort of it changes to vengeance. Straight away he gets up, wipes his eyes, and is right, I'm going to get that Macduff and Macbeth, and then alas he does at the end. Yeah, takes him down.
Spoilers. But yeah, no, honestly, it was that good. I came twice.
Oh,
I came again. And honestly, it was one of the things that, for me, I watched that play, and in my head I was like, I want to be with them guys. And
I think that's so great, and it's a great way of getting people as well, because for those listening that might not, come to see our shows, we are an amateur society, but we are good at what we do. Mm-hmm. And we've had people in the past saying, oh, where are you going next? Thinking our shows are on tour. Yeah. Not knowing that we were just here for, we're just a local society. But, we're almost, it's, I don't want to say we're almost professional. I nearly said that then. But but what we do is of a level that people could confuse it for professional production. Absolutely, because we put a lot into it, and we really, we bring every play to life on there, and we don't go half on it. We really, really go for it.
Absolutely. And it's like you say, I know you're saying almost professional. No, because when I joined for Blue Stockings, I had such a clash of worlds, because I came into the Clubrooms and I was like, oh my god, I know you. I've seen you. You were in this. You were in that. Because you
weren't starstruck, were you?
Oh, of course I was. I was sat there oh my god, I am not good enough to be in the presence of these people. But I knew a couple of them, the members, through various other amateur dramatics that I'd done in the past. Because RADS wasn't my first. It wasn't the first thing that I'd done amateur dramatic wise, but I'd never done anything in the Georgian Theatre, and it was very new. It was very much a level up for me coming here. But I knew a couple of people from those things, and they sort of pushed me to come along and see what I thought. And I honestly, like I say, I came in and I was like, oh, but I've seen you in this, and I've seen you in that, and I've seen you in this, and I was like, oh my god, I am not worthy to be in this room.
But I remember feeling that. I remember seeing and I'm sure she won't mind me name dropping her, Helena Langford was in The Vale. And I remember watching The Vale. It was, like I said, the first thing that I came to see the rehearsal, and I went to watch in the theatre, and I was like, she's fantastic. I've just come from this little village, little panto. Mm-hmm. There's no way I'm going to settle in here or feel like I'm part of it. And no, I mean, and it's just if you are local and listen to this and you are interested, there's two sort of success stories there that
Absolutely.
You come in and get involved, and you might not think you're ready for it, but it doesn't take much to sort of push you along.
Yeah. Both come from Amdram Pantos, and here
Indeed.
we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
What's your favourite memory or moment from any rehearsal or show week that you constantly, you regularly think back to and go, oh.
There's one particular one, and it was in the night that we did Black Comedy. We did 2 one-act plays in the one night. The same cast did played different characters in each one. If you had a big role in the first one, it was a smaller one in the second one, etc. The other one was a real Inspector Hound, and it was a bit of a parody of like a proper whodunit murder mystery thing.
Yeah.
And this actor, Dougie, I think he's probably in his 70s, or he was it when we were doing it. And I remember he couldn't get his lines this one particular night, and the prompt was shouting the lines, and he just went like on stage. He went, "I can't bloody hear her." And we all just looked at each other, and the audience like howled and laughed as well, which was great. And then she said it, and he got it. He went, "Oh yes, that's it," and then just carried on, and it just elevated everything. And I thought that is absolutely genius. Like to get it, because a lot of people will just freeze there, like waiting for their cue or waiting for waiting to be prompted, etc. And then you carry on. But he was just like the way he just went, "I can't hear her." Like everyone just like lapped it up, and I always remember. I'll never forget that. It was great. So that's definitely up there as one of my favourites. Then obviously the Journey's End show altogether was incredible, and up there with Dougie's I Can't Hear Her was in Monstrous Regiment Just Gone. Yeah. Rachel's hammer hits off Archie's knee. So Rachel played Igor in Monstrous Regiment, and she has to inspect Sergeant Tara to see whether he's dead. And she's like, she gets his giant hammer and hammers against his knee. And when she lifts the hammer up away from his knee, the top of the hammer just goes flying off into the pit. And so the audience, like, she's just there looking at this stick, basically, and like...
All the rest of the regiment are on stage. My hand flew to my mouth so hard because I was like, I can't laugh.
Like, what do we do?
But I don't know what to do because that's absolutely hilarious.
But then,
the audience were howling.
Mike, who plays Sergeant Jackram, just completely in character, just walked to the edge of the stage, put his hand down and said, "Can I have that back, please, sir? Thanks." And just like walked back to where he was. "Thank you very much." And I was like, that was genius. And I think they're the sort of things that stick with you. Yeah. It's just like, they're mistakes, but then they're looked after. Yeah. You don't want the ground to swallow you up. It's just so brilliant because the audience pick it up as well.
That was honestly... And then the follow up to that was when it was used again in the second half. Mm-hmm. She pulled her coat open and had like a wooden stake and said hammer in her coat, and she pulled it out and went, if the vampire isn't okay, I've come prepared. And then she had a pause after the laughter and went, "And I fixed it."
Yeah.
And it was just the
She got a clap as well. It was great. It's honestly, and you've got to do that. Do you know, like if you know something like that's gone a bit awry in the first instance, play on it a little bit, you know, and like the audience are with you. You know, the audience know things are going to happen. Like, I mean, I went on as I think my second night, I went on as Sergeant Lipschitz, and which is a great name, by the way.
It's a great name.
Sergeant Lipschitz is like a Slovenian stormtrooper, basically going into a bar to basically see what's going on. He stumbles across Polly. But as I walked on, like menacing, like really, really menacing, my hat caught on the curtain and it just went flying off behind me. And I'm like, oh no, I don't look menacing at all. So I had to turn around, put it back on and get on with it. And the audience they don't mind it. You know, it's as long as you can just carry on in character.
Well, no, because then you proceeded to then turn around and literally run at me. and like screaming, "Who are you?" At me. Like, so, you just
got to get on with it. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many. Like I said, I've been here nearly 10 years now. I've been in like a lot of the plays. So there's so many like things that have gone on in rehearsals or gone on the stage, but like that Dougie moment will stay with me, you know, like forever. Absolutely.
And your Italian accent is an honourable mention in Blue Stockings. Your pizza menu.
Oh my goodness! Like, do you know what? We're a brilliant amateur society, but we like to wind each other up as well.
We're so professional.
Yeah. So this one night, in Blue Stockings, I'm trying to impress. You did. I'm trying to impress this girl on stage, and like I have this Italian poem that I've got to read. And it's on the props table, and every night I'd get it and keep hold of it before the start of the night. A couple of jokers decided to, like, instead of like the actual Italian poem I've got, just write a load of like Italian footballers, pizza menus, all that sort of stuff, so that when I'd go on stage, because I haven't I didn't learn the poem. It was there in front of me. It was in Italian. I was reading it off the sheet. And I think the hope was that I would read this pizza menu and Italian footballers and stuff and just go.
Can I clarify? It was on the dress rehearsal.
Yeah, it wasn't on the real one.
It wasn't on the real show. I would never do that.
We'd never do that on the real one.
I thought it was me either.
No, not it was you at all. No,
it was me.
But I managed to capture it before I went on anyway, because I just saw Gianluca Vialli's name and I was like, why is it? Oh, they've tried to get me. And off I go, yeah. And yeah, my Italian accent. I'm not the best with accents, but
don't put yourself down. That was beautiful. Right, we'll be back in 30 seconds with some more insight to Bleak, our November show. Fancy supporting RADS and getting a little something back? Join the RADS Friends scheme. It's a great way to help keep live theatre thriving in Richmond. As a friend, you'll get a monthly newsletter, your name in our show programmes, and exclusive access to our club nights and activities. All that for just £12 a year or £20 per couple, due every 1st of June. Whether you're a current member or just a loyal audience regular, we'd love to have you as a friend of RADS. To find out more or join, just contact our Friends and Membership Secretary, Gregan Davis. You'll find all the details on our website or in the show notes below. Thanks for supporting local theatre. Now, back to the episode. Okay, so on to Bleak Expectations.
Indeed.
So this show is absolutely mental, but like in the best way. Like, why did you choose it? What made you want to direct this?
Oh, so funny story. Like, I was never meant to direct this.
Okay.
So it had already been passed around on committee like before I joined committee.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't even get a chance to read it. I don't know, maybe I did. Either way, it had gone round and we already had a director in place for it. And unfortunately that director pulled out. So we still wanted to do it because everyone had already said, you know, this play is brilliant, we need to do it. And so it sort of went back out to committee, would anybody be interested in directing? Now I've only directed one thing in the past.
Okay.
And I'd never read it from a director's point of view before. I'd read it from right, I'm just going to go away and read this. And, you know, I laughed so much reading it. Like, I'm not someone to laugh loudly when I'm reading a book. You know, like chuckle in your head.
Yeah.
But I was like just constantly getting my wife and saying, listen to this bit. And I was just like reading it out to her. And like, I was in absolute stitches. So I remember reading it thinking it was a brilliant play. But I hadn't never sat down and thought, well, how could this work? So I borrowed it again and went through it all, and I probably spent, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours just like from start to finish plotting how it could work.
Yeah.
And then as I was doing it, I was like, this can work, you know, and I know how to, and like all of a sudden a vision starts to appear, like how you want it to be.
Yeah.
And when I directed the previous thing that I directed, I remember saying, like, once you get a vision, you know it's a good thing for you. So I had this vision of how I wanted it to be. I took it back to committee, presented my ideas, and then, they were very supportive of me doing it. So, and here we are. Here we are, almost like a year later it is, and I feel like I've not put it down for a year.
I know, I was going to say, because like since I've known you, which is literally a year, like this week, I feel like this is all like we've spoken about. It's just been the run up to this show.
It's been
yeah.
The
long haul.
Yeah, it was like I say, I was never meant to do it, but now I'm just so glad I am doing it. Yeah, it's good.
So how would you, for people that don't know what Bleak Expectations is, how would you sum it up for someone that's never heard of it?
It's based on a BBC Radio 4 radio series by Mark Evans. I think he's done 5 series of it altogether, various episodes of it. And it's been described, it was on the West End, and the West End had a review of it and described it as Dickens meets Monty Python. Yeah. Which, you know, straight away is enough to think.
It's the best description of it, to be
but
honest.
Also, it's also got a sort of a strap line of the play Dickens may have written after too much gin.
Yeah,
which is probably right. So like I can come up with all these characters and all this funny names, etc., and this storyline, but it is just like I think you opened up by just saying how bonkers it was, and it was.
Yeah.
it's just totally bonkers.
It's absolutely mental. My first introduction, obviously, we'd spoken about it before, and you'd sort of said that you were directing it, and then we went to Ilkley to watch it. As like and Scott had said like to everyone like, oh, does anyone want to come and see this? And I was like, actually, yeah, because you've described it to me, but I don't believe that it's that ridiculous. So I want to see it with my own eyes. And so we went to Ilkley because Ilkley players were doing it, and oh my god, it's just hilarious.
It's just like it's
so
just
funny.
truly like bonkers is the only word you can say for it. Because it's one of those plays that you have to deliver it straight because the comedy is in the words.
Yes.
And we had a read through of it maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago for the members who who hadn't read it yet. We tend to open it up for people to come and have a read, see if they're interested, or even if they're not, just see what's going on. And no one had any direction, they weren't supposed to act in a certain way or speak. People were just talking it, and it was
so funny.
The room was full of laughter.
That read through, by the way, honourable mention to the amount of people that came. Oh my goodness, yeah. I've honestly never seen the Clubrooms as full as that.
We had probably 30 people come to this read through, which was like great in itself.
Amazing.
But to see them laughing so much sort of reassured me that
it's validation.
The play is actually good, and it's not just me that has found it however long.
It's only you that finds this funny. No one else finds it hysterical. It's just you.
But yeah, that was so reassuring here. And again, like I say, because it's to be delivered very straight and the comedy is in the words, that's what everyone did.
Yeah.
And the amount of laughter validated that that's how it's to be done.
Yeah.
But it is just... It's a story of an orphan boy called Pip, and his sort of tales throughout his life growing up, trying to get away from his arch nemesis. Can we say names at this point?
Yeah, I feel like no, because... So this is what I was like with Monstrous. I was like, is that a spoiler? No,
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. I think names are fine, even if you want to say casting, because that's out now.
Yeah,
that's
casting
fine.
Is out. Yeah, I have a cast, which is great.
So exciting. But yeah, as long as there's no major plot points that you would deem to be a spoiler.
Yeah. So some of the names are just like just it's just funny. We have a like the main nemesis to Pip is a character called Gently Benevolent. And he's the meanest man in the world. And his sort of business partner is called Skinflint Parsimonious, who sounds like the worst, the meanest, horriblest character you can get, but he's like the nicest man in the world. We've also got Bakewell Havertwitch, which is a great name.
Names in this though.
So that's just some of the names in there. And yeah, so the whole play is about Pip's life basically being narrated by an older version of him.
Yeah.
Sir Philip, who's basically at the front of the stage talking everyone through it, sits in a nice leathery chair and just basically narrates the whole play and everything that's going on and talks about his life, his childhood. He gives
me Dickens vibes.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. And it's just the capers from like start to finish. Benevolent wants to marry one of Pip's sisters. He wants to inherit their fortune, their wealth, and obviously Pip needs to stop this from happening. And it's just so, honestly, it's just one of the funniest things I've ever read, and I can't wait to see it performed by people now.
It's just going to be amazing. And like we briefly mentioned there, we do have a cast now, which is so exciting because, like I said, we had so many people come to the read through. And then again, so many people saying they wanted to audition and be part of it.
Yep.
I mean, you were spoiled for choice.
Yeah, it's spoiled for choice, which is always a nice thing to do. It's when you cast a play, you don't want to be chasing around for people. So to have that selection headache, as they call it, was so like reassuring. But on one hand, it was great. On the other hand, you have to let a lot of people down. And everyone auditioned so well, and it was really tough to try and narrow it down. But I had to think of so many moving parts. Basically, does that person work with that person? Is the age range correct? Does that role need to be a male only role, or can a female play it, or vice versa, etc. And there's a lot that you sort of juggle before coming up with your final cast list, and then you put it out and you hope everyone accepts the role that they've been given.
Well, that's part of it, isn't it? Because it's not as cut and dry as just, I want you, tick. Like, it's very much a case of, okay, you might have in your head, I mean, obviously we don't pre-cast, so it is a case of you come and you audition, and we go, okay, who's there? And like, you had 2 sets of auditions, didn't you?
Yeah.
So it was, again, you maybe had seen someone at the first audition, and then the second audition, like, oh, actually, no.
Yeah, they were better than... Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
and it's like, people might audition, and you might have an idea for them in your head, but they might not want that part.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's like, you might have seen them as, say, a Pip, and instead they wanted Harry, for example.
Yeah.
It's really hard, because, like, it's not as easy as just being like, yep, you.
And there are a couple of people in there that have got roles that they didn't go for. But, you know, I wanted them in the play, and I thought that they would suit these other roles, and you wait for that acceptance from them to basically say, yeah, I'm happy to do these roles. It's not what I came for. And then it's a bit of a, like, are they going to take it? I've already basically pushed this cast listing out. I've worked like around, like I say, the moving parts of making sure everyone fits where the character roles that they
work together as well.
And with it being an amateur society, it's not like, you know, loads of people from all over the place come in and you don't know them, you know, and then you audition them and off they go. There's people that you're turning down are friends, you know, and the people that you've worked with and been in the show, been in shows, and you've got to sort of, you know, let them down, and you feel like you're letting them down, but then ultimately there's like 11 roles and there's 20 odd people auditioning.
Cast,
it's not
this show.
No,
it's not a very big cast at all. But again, when we went to see it at Ilkley, it was very much like, you didn't ever feel like there wasn't enough or there was too much. It was just enough.
Yeah.
And it was just the right way to tell the story.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Ilkley is we saw a different version to the one that we're doing. So with the script that had gone around committee, and I managed to read the one that was howling with laughter with, I was prepared to see that one at Ilkley. Now Ilkley did a really good job at what they had.
Yeah.
They had a slightly different script to
better.
us, and I remember what it is.
Yeah.
And I remember watching this one and thinking, wow, they've changed a lot. Like they've changed a lot of the script, and I wonder whether you're allowed to change that much. Or they've added bits in, and I was waiting for some of the jokes that I'd been laughing at that didn't come. I was like, oh, they should have kept that in.
Yeah.
And it was only a few days later that I got the actual scripts to start working on. I was sat in my son's swimming lesson, and I thought, right, I'm going to get this out and start work through it. And I read it, and I was like, that's exactly what they had on stage at Ilkley. And I flicked through it, and the whole script was what they had performed. And I was disappointed because I was like, man, yes, they did. They did a really good job at it. By the way, they worked with the script they were given, and I read the script and I thought, that's not what I wanted. Fortunately, we were able to contact the publisher, who in turn I think contacted Mark Evans, and we basically tried to see whether there was enough scripts around for us to get hold of the original version that we had. Because in the original, in the script that I've got, it says, you know, this has gone to print before the show has actually gone on stage.
Okay.
So it may be that you know, the one that they put on stage was the one that Ilkley had.
Yeah.
So we may be one of the only people to do this version. I don't
So
know.
exciting.
Who knows?
Yeah, no.
But I read
definitely.
it, and we were so lucky that they came back to us and said, okay, yeah, we've managed to find some scripts for you to use, and you can do the original version.
Amazing.
And everyone was just so happy with it because, you know, we had various members of the committee went to watch the Ilkley one. They all said the same thing. Like, it just wasn't as funny as the script that we've got. And like I say, they did a really good job of what they had.
They were fabulous.
They were really
good.
They
did an amazing job. And like so that was my first impression of Bleak. So I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had a great time.
Yeah.
It was so good. And like, we were watching it, and the jokes were landing, and me and Susie, we were sat just completely wetting ourselves laughing the whole time. It was just hilarious from start to finish. So when you'd said to me a few days later, oh, that's not what I've got, like, ours is like, I mean, theirs was really good, but ours is so much funnier. The script is just funnier. And I was like, really? Like, come on. And then I read the script that you guys and we're using, and I was like, oh, it is funnier. Like, it's just so, like, the jokes are so witty but dry, and it's brilliant. It's that sarcastic dry humour. And I think especially to do it in Richmond, North Yorkshire, where it's like we are the masters of dry, sarcastic comedy. I think it's the perfect setting for a play like that, because it really,
definitely.
like, especially our actors as well, they are all, like I say, we're all local people. We are amateur, but everybody has that sort of dry humour in them. And I think it's just going to be, the rehearsals are going to be super fun, because it's so funny.
What's really great, we haven't even started rehearsals. We start our rehearsals tomorrow.
I know,
like, I'm just so ready for this.
We're so excited. We were literally, Scott's been labelling entrances as we were setting up. And grabbing, it was like, oh, in the break, I'm just going to go grab some props. So I've got them ready. And I'm like, honestly, he's so prepared. Scott is the most organised person. I have to say, I can't not mention the spreadsheets. You knew it was coming.
I am a spreadsheet king. I love a spreadsheet. And just like, I've spent so much time, like I say, I got this nearly a year ago, I think it was. And I've been working on it for nearly a year. And I was just in Monstrous Regiment. Like, I wasn't supposed to be in Monstrous Regiment, and somebody dropped out, or there was somebody unavailable to do it, and I came in and helped. And it's the only time I've put the script down over the last year, because as I need to focus on this. But before then, like, I've worked out, all the characters, when they're in, how often they're on stage, what props we need. Like, I've got spreadsheets for
there are so many
every single,
spreadsheets.
like, the prop spreadsheet, a sound effects spreadsheet, lighting, projections, everything. And just, I wanted to be ready. Because it's such a good script. I was desperate for it to work. And I feel like if I didn't do that, and I just got it, I don't know, a month ago, like, I probably wouldn't take it on. But the fact that I've had so long with it, and we're now a day away from our rehearsals, like, I'm ready. Like, tomorrow, I know exactly where everyone's going to be moving to. And don't get me wrong, like, I might see something that I've had in my head, and right, this is what we're going to do. And then when I see the actors actually doing it, actually, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. But I know where people are going to go off and on. I know where people are moving. I know where people are standing. And,
I think
let's see
it really
if
helps, though, as well. Like,
true.
when you direct, but when you've been on stage and you've done so much on stage and acted yourself, I think it really helps when you're directing. With Antigone, Gregan is such an amazing director. He is so hands-on. Like, he will tell you exactly how he wants some things. Mind you, he'll be furious with this, because I've only just remembered that he is very what's the word? Particular about how we pronounce our words. In the best way. But yeah, like, it's very much like he would direct, but then I'll go, but I was seeing it like this, and we'd then workshop it together. And it's really nice to be able to have a director's input, but then also, because you've got that experience on stage, when to sort of go, but how were you seeing it? And then finding that, like, happy medium. It's just an amazing
there is that, like I say, I've got a vision of how I want it to be. I'm open to ideas, but I'm open to ideas to the point where I can turn them down as well. So, like, if somebody comes and says, should we do it this way? Actually, no, I want it to be this way. Even if you might think it's better that way, what I want from this is this. But I'm also open enough for them to go, well, if we did this, I don't want everybody that's cast to be the director. There's a reason I'm doing it.
Exactly.
Because I've got something in my mind that I think can land on the stage, and we can present it to the people that are coming, and give them a really good night. And that's the whole idea of this. So yes, the cast and everyone have to enjoy it, but we're putting it on for the audiences. And it's got to be right. So as much as, like, I am open to ideas, I'm also, and I'll make it very clear to the cast, like, please don't get offended if I don't take your idea on board, because this is how I want it. And
absolutely.
That might have worked if I was going in a different direction, like if I was going more sort of pantomime approach, but I want this to be very seriously delivered.
Exactly.
And all the actions and stuff like that is what's going to cause the laughs and stuff. So
exactly, because it's a comedy, but like you say, the comedy is in the way that the wording is so serious. It's almost like you're laughing at the characters' insanity rather than at what they're doing.
Exactly.
So it's very much like,
so okay, they need to, or anything like that,
the actors need to be acting almost like they don't find themselves funny, because they don't understand why. If they could break the fourth wall, they wouldn't understand why they were being laughed at.
Yeah,
and it's that sort of like, okay.
Everything's serious to them, and Pip is on this mission, and his friend Harry is there to try and help and save him and stuff like that. And some of Harry's ideas might not be the best, but Harry's convinced they're the best ideas, and that's what I want. And that's what I want. I don't want those to come across like we could do this, and this is say farcical, and it's a bit over the top. Like Harry is going to be serious about his ideas, and if they don't work, oh rats, they haven't worked, sort of thing, like that approach. And I'm a bit like Greg, and like I said, I've directed one last March, I think it was, and I'm very like, once I've read the script, I know what words need enunciating, basically. So that word, you need to say that one, like this. You need to say that one with this, or it doesn't land the way you want it to land. So like, I will be like that with people, and I say, you deliver like this, but can you just like emphasize that word? Emphasize that word, because it changes the meaning of certain lines if you don't.
Absolutely, and like intonation and like diction is so important. Like I during Antigone, my part was Ismene, who had a hysterical breakdown on stage, and I probably drove Gregan a little bit insane. Sorry, Gregan, if you're listening. I probably drove him a little bit mad, because during my little hysterical breakdown, I just forgot all rules of diction and punctuation, because I was too focused on having a breakdown.
Yep.
And then he was like, okay, that was great, but can you do it again and pronounce your T's? And I was like, are you joking me?
I'm having this natural breakdown.
On the floor at the Clubrooms, on hands and knees, like literally tears in my eyes. And he's just like, yeah, no, do it again, but with T's, please. And I'm like, okay. And like, it was just, but then it made me so much better. And it's that sort of thing of like, actually, it hits differently when you can hear. Although it's hysterical, you need to hear it properly. And I think it's so
the
important.
Words. That's the thing, you know the words, but the audience don't.
Exactly.
So if they're not picking up on these words, then you're just somebody who's having a hysterical breakdown, but your words were key.
Why.
Do you know? And like he did the same with Dan when he said the word child. He said really make the D. So child, and like really make sure that D comes through. And it's like they are really important things to do. And as an actor, I guess like you just said there, it might feel a bit frustrating to feel that from the director, but there's a reason it's happening.
Exactly.
And it's normally for the right reason.
And I would never, like, especially looking back at that show, it's very much like, actually, that made me so much better. And in the moment when I was on my hands and knees, and I mean, I've just said this to Gregan, I was literally just sat there like, are you joking me? Like, are you actually serious?
No, I'm giving it my all here.
Are you kidding? But then literally I would then be like, okay, fine, we'll do it again. And then afterwards I'd be like, yeah, fine, okay, that was better.
Right, yeah.
It's like, okay, fine, move on.
It's almost like he knows what he's doing.
It's almost as if the directors are like, I don't know, directing. Yeah. It's crazy notion.
So I'm very hands-on as well. And I learned this when I did Crackers Christmas last year. Like I'm not going to sit in my director's chair and just sit and watch it happen. I'll be jumping up and I'll be moving people around and walking them through it. So right, can you walk on, like stand over here when you walk on, and then I'll go back and sit down and I'll see it happen. So I'll be like right in there with them.
Amazing.
Which is, I think is, everyone's got their different ways of doing it, but that's the way I'll be doing it.
So a bit more about the cast information. Obviously, like we say, we've cast it now, which is super exciting. You said a few familiar faces are coming back from Monstrous.
Yeah.
Who are we expecting?
We have, coming back, we have Elijah. We have Archie. Yeah, Rachel's coming back in. Mike's coming back in. Aaron, who was actually doing the lights, is coming back. But yeah, Archie's coming back as Pip Bin, which is great to see. I'm so happy that I managed to cast a strong Pip. Archie picked up a lot of roles in Monstrous, and that sort of reassured me that he can learn a lot of lines, which is good because Pip is on for 99% of the play. And what I found funny is Archie is Pip in this play, and on your last podcast, he brought his dog Pip along.
Of course!
It was meant to be.
It was like we predicted it.
Indeed.
But we didn't. We manifested that happening by Archie's gorgeous dog.
I'm so excited for that, for the casting. Like I say, people I've worked with, people I haven't yet worked with, but people I've seen, and I know will do a tremendous job.
Yeah. How exciting.
How exciting.
Is there a part of the show that you're most excited about rehearsing?
No, everything. Just everything.
Everything.
It's just because it is such a great script. Someone asked me the other day, who's your favourite character? all of them. Like, I just can't pick a favourite character because everyone's got their own thing that they bring.
Yeah.
But the whole play is great. There's what I am looking forward to doing is the scene changes, which sounds really weird because like, all this acting is going on.
No pressure.
No pressure on the backstage staff. Chloe is one of them. I'm looking forward to it because they have to be seamless for it to run well.
Yeah.
And, we will be using Backstage, we'll be using the actors to move some props and take things on and off, etc. But like going from, a stately home to a courtroom quite quickly, there's a lot to bring on, a lot to change, a lot to set in the right place, but setting it quietly because in this moment, Sir Philip is narrating, whilst the stage may go black at that point for people to bring things on and set stuff up. And there's not always a lot of time for the stuff to get set up. So the rehearsal is going to be great for that because we need to nail that as much as we need to nail everything else. That has to be right because if it's not, the whole thing will fall down. Like no pressure at all. You'll ruin the whole play.
I'll ruin everything if I don't set it quietly.
Yeah, quietly and quickly.
No, I'm kidding. No, but the backstage. I mean, not to toot my own horn.
So important.
But we've got quite a strong backstage team.
Yeah. We've got a strong team all together. Like when I managed to cast it, I spoke with stage manager Becky, and we both said, "What a strong cast we've got."
Yeah.
And we looked at that and we said, "Yeah, we really have got such a strong cast to work with. People that I've seen in plays, I've been in with plays, and new people as well that I haven't seen."
Yeah.
Or people who've just come and been in Monstrous Regiment and they're back in it again. And so I looked at that, but also like looking at the backstage team that I had, I almost got the backstage team in before anything else because I knew how key it was to have people put things in the right place so that the cast can go and grab them and get them back on stage really quickly. To have people that are serious, like they're going to take this serious.
Well.
Yeah, I hope so. Moving things on and off, but knowing the importance of getting these scene changes well, like so that the lights can come back up and straight away you're somewhere else, because the stage is very much going to be fairly bare apart from props, lighting and projection. That's the main way of doing it. So once we a projection of a churchyard's up and there might be a gravestone on, where you are at that point. Projection of a courtroom and then there's a courtroom setting, where you are, those things. And that's what for me is going to be so key to enable the actors to do what they've been rehearsing for however long.
Absolutely.
So you guys are going to be here, not as much as the actors, but, as we get into it, you're going to be as important as the actors are because you are going to be changing these scenes really quickly and
like
getting on
from
and off.
An acting perspective as well. Like the act, like I know I rely so much on you in not Blue Stockings, Monstrous Regiment.
Yeah.
Like Scott was handing me socks backstage. He was sorting out my my stripes.
Yeah.
He was. I literally threw him a bowl of Scubbo in the tech rehearsal. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. What do I do with this? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, take this from me, please. Yeah. And it was very much like, the backstage crew. Yes, obviously we plan and we choreograph.
Yeah.
But they are when the show is running, the stage manager's calling the show. The backstage are the glue that hold the show together.
They're the unsung heroes.
Absolutely,
like,
they
really, truly are. And people who come to see the play and or review the play, etc., will review what they see. What they see is the duck on top of the water.
Yeah.
The people who are backstage are the legs.
Yeah.
They're going hell for leather to keep it going.
Literally, yeah.
Like say, when I was in Whiskey Galore, the girls that were on stage were incredible, but that wouldn't have run as well as it did without the team we had backstage. Because like I say, we were moving giant boats round the back, like from one side of the stage to another round the back of the curtain to get it on, and then running around the other side to help them off and like get them out of this boat and making sure these crates of whiskey are in the right place. Because if they're not, like all of a sudden it's like
thrown off.
Everything's thrown off.
Everything's wrong.
So kudos to all the backstagers. You are very much appreciated.
And if you are a listener who isn't part of RADS but would not like to be on the stage as a spotlight, we're always looking for backstage help, prompts, costumiers,
prop sourcers, makers,
anything. Painters, builders. people to help us on the night, moving the sets and furniture, or doing the lights and sitting in the control box. Things like this all are crucial to making sure that a show actually runs smoothly and looks amazing. So if you're interested, my details are in the description. Please drop us an email and we will be more than welcome. You'd be more than welcome to join us, because we'd love to have you. Take 30 seconds and we're back for the final segment, which is our quickfire round.
Let's do it.
Looking for a fun way to spend a Monday evening? Come along to our monthly RADS Club Nights, held on the second Monday of every month at the Clubrooms. Whether you're a seasoned performer or just theatre curious, everyone's welcome, member or not. We've got all sorts of drama-filled fun, from script read-throughs to games, workshops and more. It's relaxed, it's social, it's theatrical, and we'd love to see you there. Keep an eye on our socials for times and themes, and come and join the RADS madness. Welcome back for our quick fire round. So there's no overthinking allowed here.
Straight in.
First thing that comes to mind. Okay. And I feel like I don't know if we've maybe covered some of this already, so it might be cheating.
Might be easy then.
Ready. First one. Favourite role you've ever played?
Captain Stand-Up, Journey's End.
Dream role you've not done yet?
In one that's already been at RADS, or one that I'd love to do?
Anything. Your favourite, if you could play any part that you've not played, what would it be?
I can't answer. Got to come back to that one.
Oh, it's quick fire.
I can't think.
Broken. Okay, fine. Line you still remember from a past show?
Was Journey's End, and I was shouting at the young recruit lieutenant Raleigh, and we'd just seen one of our colleagues basically go on a suicide mission, and I had authorised it reluctantly, and he was my best friend. And Lieutenant Raleigh is talking to me about, how can you let this happen, etc. And I just yell at him to forget. I do this to forget. Do you understand? To forget. And it's like drinking so much, basically, that he just drinks as much as he can to forget the horrors of what he's seen. Yeah. And I remember that was a massive crescendo to like this. We were arguing. And then bang, I shout this, to forget. Amazing. Do you hear me, you bloody fool? To forget. And I remember driving home every night after auditioning that, crying. And I don't cry. I'm not a crier at all, but I'd do it in my car and then just sort of break down, because I just like, that is horrible. Like, just having to think about that. And people talk about method acting and all that sort of stuff. Like, weirdly, I became that character for a while, and it's just like, it affected me. And but I just do remember that line, like the to forget was brilliant.
That's a good one.
A quick fire round, and I'm sorry I just gave you a minute worth of
That's
spiel.
okay. That's fine, because it was a quick answer.
Yeah.
Most embarrassing onstage moment?
Oh, my hat flying off in the last one. It's just honestly, like, I've not really had many hiccups. I've not really had many times where I've like froze on stage. I've managed to get myself out of it, but the hat flying off when I'm coming in all menacing and ready to go, and then there's a comedy moment in a bit that wasn't supposed to be comedy.
One word to describe your directing style?
Involved. Nice.
Best show snack or post-rehearsal treat?
Maltesers. So Maltesers. Okay. In Monstrous Regiment just gone there, I was as we said, I was backstage, and there was a period where I'd done my scene, I was back on the headset, but then there was nothing for me to do for a little while, so I'd always venture downstairs into the change rooms and sit with Susie Ordish, and she'd have the Maltesers out ready for me every night. So same time every night I'd come in and she'd eat her Maltesers. Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Most underrated part of theatre life?
Backstage. Definitely underrated, because there's so much to do and so much involvement of it, and you might not get the plaudits that you deserve, but it is, as we were just saying, it's so important. Yeah.
Prop or costume? And costume, I want one of each, that you wish you could have kept.
Costume, just for the sheer I was going to say sheer fun of it was probably the one from Black Comedy, because I got to wear a wig and it looked crazy.
Was it as good as Daphne?
It was better. I was in a powder blue suit. It was set in the 60s, and I had this wig on. I'll show you the pictures. I
was going to say, I need pictures.
Pictures are on our website, by the way, if anyone does want to see it.
Everyone wants to see that.
And in terms of a prop, Probably the Italian poem with all the footballers on. Yeah.
And then I'm going back to it. Dream role that you've not done yet.
Danny Zuko from Greece.
Amazing.
Why not?
Unreal. Well, thank you so much. There we have it. A massive thanks to Scott for joining me.
You're welcome.
And for giving us all a little sneak peek behind the curtain of Bleak Expectations. Rehearsals start tomorrow.
Yes.
So
cannot wait to see everybody there. Our WhatsApp groups are already going wild.
Oh my goodness.
I think everyone is giddy and ready for this. And like I said at the start, it's saying bye to Borogravia and getting into Victorian England and getting on with it.
Absolutely.
But all the last year's worth of work is coming to fruition and off we go with it.
Yeah.
And I believe tickets are selling very well already as well.
They are.
Yeah, really
so
well.
make sure you keep an eye on the socials for updates, and we will see you in November from the 5th to the 8th of November for what promises to be an absolutely ridiculous, brilliant show.
Harrumble.
Until then, thanks for listening, and indeed, Harrumble.